Good evening, Dolphins fans. Welcome to another episode of On the FinSide here with Kat and Paul. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Spreaker, iTunes, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. The Dolphins have won 5 games in a row. And next weekend, when we do our show, Paul, it's going to be 50 straight days until the Dolphins have lost a football game. I mean, it's quite incredible what's going on here right now. Tua versus Justin Herbert here today, and it was never Tua versus Justin Herbert. It was always Justin Herbert against the Dolphins defense, and that's what happened here today. 14-0 Dolphins at the end of the first quarter, and it seemed like the Dolphins leaned on the Chargers for the rest of the game after getting up into that 14-0 lead, even at the behest of Ted Karras.
Yeah, Ted Karras didn't have his best day as a Dolphin today. And in reality, the game was never, ever as close as the score indicated at times. I mean, you and I were messaging back and forth. If Ted Karras didn't shotgun the ball into his own leg with Tua under center twice, it's and then if Jesse Davis hadn't made his flub on the subsequent drive, we're talking 28-0 in the first half at that point. And it wound up being 14, which is fine. They came back, they got 7. But really, the Dolphins softened up and went vanilla at times because anytime they hit that double-digit lead, they went straight vanilla, and then they attacked again. If the Chargers closed in, it was never as close as a score, including that garbage time touchdown that just wrecked my freaking predictions.
Yeah, it was 29-14 at one point. It was also 14-0 with 10 minutes left in the second quarter. I mean, it was an absolute bloodbath, or it had the potential to be a bloodbath, I would say. I mean,
my words are catching on.
And Brian Cox would be proud of you. I mean, for those words. I mean, when you look at what happened here today, Tua goes 15 for 25, 170 yards. So nothing Hollywood at all when it comes to Tua, but
a tackle.
Yeah, and an unbelievable tackle. He was coming down on Nick Vigil like he was trying to punch a purse out of her pocket.
And it's funny because you remember you and I had beers with Nick's parents down in Miami one time when Zach was with the team, and I remember them talking about Nick and how he was the better player, and seeing him recover that fumble. I'm like, oh man, not Nick. Oh no, but. No, I mean, it's in reality, Tua had a great game today. Don't let the stat line fool you. It's Tua outshined Justin Herbert in this one. The Dolphins outshined the Chargers in this one. They did not look like teams on the same playing field.
They really didn't. And I've got to say that you said that before in our Chargers Dolphins podcast, and I thought this would be a shootout. I thought it would be a 35-27 game or a 37-27 game, something along those lines, but it never came to that. I mean, it's amazing that it was actually 29-21, because if not for that Ted Karras fumble in the exchange with Tua, I mean, we're talking about a 17-0 or 21-0 football game in the second quarter. And we're talking about blowouts every week with the Dolphins.
We are. And, in all honesty, if they didn't get vanilla when they hit that double digit lead, they'd be worse. Like, and I mean that in the utmost wonderful way. I mean, Justin Herbert showed he is exactly who we thought he is. The second the Dolphins got even a little away from vanilla on defense, he got confused. In crunch time, yeah, he did get a touchdown pass in the end, but you saw him sail a ball 15 yards to a wide open receiver. Yeah, I didn't walk away going, holy crap, Justin Herbert's the next big thing. Tua, on the other hand, there were plays where he shook defenders that had him dead to rights. He led and commanded this offense. He wasn't happy. You could see it on the sidelines when things didn't go the way he wanted, whether they had the lead or not. And he took it on his shoulders and played today. It's and
Yeah.
actually let's step away from Tua for a second, because there was another thing in this game that I've seen a lot of Dolphin fans saying, "Oh my God, we have to draft a running back with our first pick. We have to draft a running back with our first
Mm.
pick," or blah 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 blah. Which neither
You
you
never
or
have to
I are a
draft a
fan of.
running back with your first pick ever.
No, unless you see the next coming of Barry Sanders, then I'll allow it. But in reality, Savon Ahmed looked like everything you and I have said and more today. I know he didn't get 100 yards, but he was explosive, took over the game at times when they went to vanilla, and I want to see more of him, even when Miles Gaskin's back. At best, I want it to be a platoon.
Yeah, Salvin Ahmed. He was. If you look back at the NFL draft combine this past year, he was the first person to run the 40-yard dash because he's a running back and his name starts with an A. And he ran a 4.65, and he went from third round to undrafted out of Washington. And I always thought he was faster than that because I loved him coming out of Washington. I liked him more than Miles Gaskin coming out of Washington by far. And I saw an element of speed last week when he played. And today, 21 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown. So fantastic work by him. And what's even more telling, Paul, is that Jordan Howard, Chandler Cox were inactive today. And so Jordan Howard and Chandler Cox were inactive today. Matt Breida did not make it, and Miles Gaskin is on IR. So fantastic performance by Savon Ahmed here.
It was, and how damning is it of where the Dolphins feel of Jordan Howard, that he's so inactive when he is on the roster and gets on the field, that even with Breida out, Gaskin on IR, the Dolphins decided to roll with Laird, an unproven undrafted free agent in Savon Ahmed, and DeAndre Washington, who probably knows about 3 plays on this offense.
Yep. Absolutely. And the offensive line, one thing that was interesting throughout the game is I did not see a lot of Robert Hunt at the right tackle position. That was fascinating because Austin Jackson at left tackle played very well. Eric Flowers at left guard was his usual solid self. Ted Karras messed up 2 snaps, which we've talked about. Solomon Kinley lined up at fullback a couple of times. I mean,
who's been screaming for it?
I haven't been.
I didn't
been.
mean you. I saw Chandler Cox inactive, and I got excited. I really got excited. And then first play after AVG blocks a punt and Miami takes over at the 1-yard line, whose big fat ass is blocking out anybody from even seeing that Ahmed is in the backfield? Solomon Kinley, number 66, eligible. Let's go.
You might as well. I mean, I've always been saying that too. Like, if you're gonna put a tight end at that position or somebody at that spot, I mean, you might as well put an offensive line in the backfield or a sixth lineman at tight end. And they did it today. And it was fantastic. So the Dolphins were up 14-0 with 10 minutes left in the third quarter. And then there was the Ted Karras mishap there. The Dolphins could have been up 21-0. It was quite astounding. So Jakeem Grant had 4 catches for 43 yards here today, and it seemed like he had a lot more because he was getting a lot of separation from those defensive backs.
It did, and I'm going to talk to that in 1 minute. Shake money. I have to correct you on that. This is not the Pouncey jersey.
Oh, it's Brian Cox.
This is my A,
Oh,
throwback,
the throwback jersey.
and B, it gave me the opportunity, and I'll get my hands off screen so we don't get censored by YouTube, to basically, after that DeAndre Hopkins catch today, put both hands straight up in the air and love every second of it. So, not Mike Pouncey, Brian Cox. It went well with my attitude over the past week for those of you that listen to us. But anyway, it's going back to Jakeem Grant. He didn't put up the numbers that I was hoping for today. Ooh, I did that just right, getting my fingers just off screen. He didn't put up the numbers I was hoping he would today, but he did some cool things. He did some unexpected things. I can't believe, I love the fact that they put him in motion and then used him like a pulling guard. All 5'6" and 40 pounds of him pulling out and actually making the lead block for running plays around the edge. No one expected it. No one saw him cutting back across the field. And he literally was awesome doing that. He was making every catch thrown his way. He was just lights out today.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the defensive side of the ball, what more can you say? I mean, the Dolphins were without Christian Wilkins. They got Kyle Van Noy back at the last minute. Andrew Van Ginkel, every time he's on the field, special teams, defense, he does an amazing job. And but the biggest thing, and what I keep going back to, is that at the cornerback spot, there is no team in the NFL that can do what the Dolphins do at the cornerback position with Byron Jones and Xavier Howard. Xavier Howard gets his 5th interception of the year, and it was a game-turning play. The Chargers were up 20-17 at this point, and he picks it off, returns it back to the Chargers 30-yard line, and nothing is the same from that point on. I mean, I don't see why any team in the NFL right now is not trying to make the cornerback position the number one priority after modeling what the Dolphins are doing here in the 2020 season.
I'd go a little bit further. I'd basically go to the point of not just the cornerback position, but what Miami is doing across the entire back end of that secondary. It's Bobby McCain, a guy that, let's face it, a lot of Dolphins fans watching can acknowledge it and be okay with it. We've all had this happen where we thought he was a cast, or I was a fan, but as Dolphins fans, I'll join Dolphins Nation and say the collective thought was that he was a cast-off waste of a roster spot. And he's playing lights out football in the secondary. I love nothing more than watching it when he runs up to the line to destroy him in the backfield or look like he's coming and then drop off to shut down the screen game when teams like the Chargers start doing that against us with Kalen frickin' Ballage. Eric Rowe has been one of the best safeties in football this year. And then Brandon Jones, I know he's not a starter, but every time he gets on the field, it's like Van Ginkel. He does something fun, something special. And it's all the little things that don't necessarily show up on the stat sheet. And then you've got guys like Nick Needham opening the game with a sack today. You've got, God, I didn't see Igbenogany today. I'll admit it.
Yeah, he wasn't on the field, but Nick Needham to open that game with the sack on Justin Herbert was phenomenal. I mean, because I thought he was the one that had the target on his back, because Jalen Guyton played 87% of snaps last week for the Chargers. And I thought it would be a 3-4 wide receiver tight end type of look for them. And they never went with it. Here's something I can't believe we haven't talked about yet.
There's a lot to cover.
what point of stupid play do you have to get for, if you're the Chargers, to run your offense through Kalen Balaj? I mean, Kalen Balaj had 20 plus touches today. I mean, what in a Anthony Lynn should be fired today and should go back and apologize to his parents today as well.
To be fair, I think I said this on our
There is
game
no being
preview.
fair.
No, I think I said on our game preview, watching the Chargers' last two games in particular, this is a team that's poorly coached. You can see the result on the field, on offense, on defense, in the vanilla ass unpreparedness of it all. And it makes me appreciate Brian Flores all the more when I see a team that has, let's face it, the Chargers do have talent. They do. Um, but they can't get their act together. And it's sad. Like I like when there's a rivalry with the Chargers. I like beating the snot out of them when they're good, not when they're 2-6. I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong. But it's a little more fun when they were good under guys like Philip Rivers and the ex coaching staff there.
Yeah, and up until today, I thought Justin Herbert was dragging the Chargers kicking and screaming to whatever they were going toward. And today, Justin Herbert didn't do that. I mean, you're talking about somebody that up until this game, Justin Herbert was 300 yards, 2 touchdowns every game. Today, he was what 18 for 32 for 170 yards. He was nothing. He was
Well,
nothing. The
and
Dolphins embarrassed him.
and how much of that was the screen game? I mean, I know I've got the stats up, and I'll take a look at Kalen Balaj's catches in a minute. But in reality, it was what I told our listeners in the our pregame preview. It's the fact that they've been going up against teams with 4-man fronts that are like, we'll get there. And if they happen to blitz, they sent a guy running before the snap so you could see his ass coming. You look
Yeah.
at you look at Herbert's reaction when he's getting pelted on a play in play out basis, especially when Miami turned it back up again. I mean, look at that third down when Miami went to what I keep calling, and you call it what you want, whatever you call it's wrong because it's not a formation. The drunken defense where they're all running around, laughing, coming this way, coming that way. Herbert just dropped a goose egg on that play. It's you can't throw deep when you're getting put on your ass consistently and quickly. And that takes away almost all of Justin Herbert's game other than running like a baby deer.
Yep. And I think that's completely fair. And even though Justin Herbert right now at this point is probably the offensive player of the year, or excuse me, the offensive rookie of the year, I don't think
At
that's
this
going to
point.
stand. Yeah, at this point, I don't think that's going to stand.
No.
But right now, the Chargers are picking 5th overall, and the Dolphins are picking 6th overall because of the Texans' loss today, 10-7 to the Browns. So there's a lot of good things going on. If it sounds like on this podcast, like it's just sunshine and rainbows, it is. I mean, the Dolphins have gone 43 games, 43 days without losing a football game. 43 days. And they also have the 5th pick in the NFL draft.
And not just that, but let's just level set here. Miami, you take the hapless, winless, disgusting excuse for a football team in the Jets out of the equation here that are undercoached for
That's
being
fair.
undertalented by Adam Gase. Take them out of the equation here. In that time span, they've beaten the 49ers, and the 49ers probably only close to healthy game this year. They've beaten the Arizona Cardinals. They've beaten freaking the Chargers, who have lost by a combined 24 points over their last, I don't know, crap load of losses here at 2-6, and they're burning, crashing airplane. They've beaten the LA Rams, and they've done so in each of these games in different ways, convincingly. This one less so on the scoreboard because of the trash time touchdown, and drop 2-point conversion, and Jason Sanders doing something he never does and missing a field goal. But they have convincingly won for a month and a half right now. And of course, it's going to be some sunshine and rainbows at that point, especially with what appears to be their quarterback of the future here.
Yeah, so let's talk about the grades as we go into this. At the quarterback spot, Tua goes 15 for 25, 169 yards, a touchdown, and he dekes out another defender as well. So taking a look at that, Tua, I'm going to go with a B plus for it, because I keep going back to, if the Dolphins had not gotten out to a giant lead, then he probably would have done more. So I'm going to go with a B plus.
I'm going A minus. It's This game just continues to slow down for the guy. He makes the plays, he takes the leadership, he does everything he needs to. Ted Karras after the game said of Tua chasing Nick Vigil down the field, who Nick Vigil also doubled as a running back in college and tore teams apart in the couple of games he played at running back. Chasing Nick Vigil down to make that tackle that keeps Ted Karras' ass out of the fire a little bit. He showed the leadership and the intangibles in this one. He put balls through windows that I haven't seen a Dolphins quarterback do since Marino, and we've had a lot of freaking quarterbacts since Marino. And
yeah,
I'm not going to dub him the next Marino. I'm not doing that. But I just want to be clear. But A minus easily for me, even though he didn't put up the biggest stat line on the planet.
I'm just cracking up because I just pictured Nick Vigil going down the sideline and Tua just grabbing his purse the entire time, and it's.
Hey, he rode him like Yoda, but he still gets a tackle for it.
He made the play. Tua made the play,
if he didn't backpack him, he would have made it. He would have probably gotten a lot further.
But if that was a return for touchdown, that would have been a different thing, because the Chargers had to work for that. Justin Herbert lunged over, Frankenstein over the end zone to get that 1 yard touchdown. But it was a 5-minute drive for them, so that contributes to it as well. At the running back spot, Savon Ahmed gets in there, and we talked about it before the game, and I said that if he does not carry the ball 15 to 20 times, I don't know what the Dolphins are doing. And he finishes the game with 21 carries for 85 yards. And that yards per carry started to go down as the game started to decrease. So fantastic game from Savon Ahmed here. So, but there was not a lot of contribution anywhere other than the running back position from somebody other than him. So I'm going to go with a B minus.
I'm just a shade above you again here with a B. And, part of that is, while he didn't light up the stat sheet, he still averaged 4 yards a carry. And Patrick Laird had a key run late in the game as well. And God, I get to do this. I get to do something I've wanted to do all year long. I get to include a fat guy for a portion of it in my running back grades. And Solomon Kinley, yeah, you're part of my running back grades today, baby. Ugh! Lead blocking for a touchdown, freezing a corner by charging him. I can go with a B here.
Fair enough. And deactivating Chandler Cox and having Solomon Kinley at 360 pounds as the fullback, the balls it takes, and how big of a
Big one.
smile. How big of a smile it requires Paul Picking to have here.
Dude,
Absolutely,
I
you
wanted
deserve
them to throw one to him. I wanted them to throw one to him. I
it.
wanted to see
Well,
what touchdown dance Kinley's
that's
fat ass had in store for us.
that's where I draw the line, because then we're talking about style points. But I understand. I mean, if we get to the point where we're 10-4, then that makes sense. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. At wide receiver, tight end, the receiver position, Paul. Uh, One thing that we're starting to see is Jakeem Grant and having a consistent theme with Tua, because I mean, he didn't have a high stat line, but 4 catches, 43 yards. Mike Gesicki is basically a wide receiver. I mean, I'm going to go ahead with a B, or with a B for the wide receiver and tight end spot.
I'm going to equal you here because as excited as I was to see Solomon Kinley at fullback, I was equally excited to see Jakeem Grant be the equivalent of a pulling guard in this one. It's that's the creative shit that I'm here for. Like I love that stuff. The unexpected, be creative, be fun, and he was effective. He was effective as a pulling guard. He was effective on that touchdown catch. He made plays when he had to. The 43 yards, you have to do that to scale. For Jakeem Grant, that's like 100 yards. So we'll call it 43, and we'll
Yeah,
call it a B.
and Durham Smythe also had probably the sexiest 2 catches for 9 yards I've ever seen. Caught a touchdown on a misdirection. It was to a second touchdown, and blocked very well throughout the game too. So part of it too is that at the wide receiver tight end spot, we don't quite know what the Dolphins can bring, because I mean, let's be honest. In their 6 wins, 5 of them they've been blowing out their opponent. So along the offensive line, one thing that interested me is that Jesse Davis uh, played in this game. I mean, Kinley, Hunt, and Austin Jackson, I think should be left tackle, right guard, and right tackle. But you know, overall, they were protected well. The offensive line blocked well. They smashed well. They have great size for the position. So, going to go with a B- for them as well.
They didn't allow a sack in this game, and they were opening up running lanes. They I wish I could include Kinley's contributions at fullback in this one because hey, they found a way to get all 6 of their starters on the field without having to take a tight end off. But end of the day, they didn't allow a sack. They opened up running lanes. Miami was able to average 4+ yards per carry between their running backs in this one. I can go with an A- for these guys. All right, no, I gotta go B+ because Ted Karras screwed that. Damn it!
Yeah, I didn't mention that, and I'm glad you did.
His
Ted
2 fumbles.
Karras, 2 fumbles, and one of them could have cost the Dolphins the game. Let's be honest. I mean, it was 14-0 Dolphins with 10 minutes left in the second quarter, and Ted Karras had an embarrassingly low snap at a position where the Dolphins could have gone up 21-0. So yeah, I mean that's for sure. But it's not reflective of the Dolphins' overall unit this year. And you've hit on that. On the defensive side of the ball, the overall theme is over the last three or 2 weeks, Paul, DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams have had a combined 1 catch for 11 yards in the first half. I mean, what can you say about Xavier Howard and Byron Jones other than that this is a special type of group, and I don't throw that word around a lot.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Not only with the Dolphins secondary back there, but with your offensive rookie of the year, mid-year grade candidate from a bunch of lame asses, who I wouldn't really put there. I think Burrow's done more with less. Let's face it.
Yeah, no doubt. So along the defensive line, Zach Sealer, phenomenal job. Raekwon Davis, the size that it requires to control those guys. Um, Emmanuel Agba gets another sack, so they controlled the game here along the defensive front. So I'm going to go with a B plus for the defensive line.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go A minus. We had a Strobridge sighting. Sealer absolutely was on fire again today. Came out of nowhere reading a screen pass at one point to just absolutely destroy a guy that's not a small running back in Kalen Balaj. Um, you know, I like Strobridge had a huge stuff in this one. Agba had another huge sack. Van Ginkel was all over the field yet again, and yeah, I can go with an A minus for these guys. I really liked what I saw, and yeah, Kalen Balaj got some yards.
Yeah,
Okay,
a bunch of meaningless yards. Exactly right. At linebacker, we'll continue to go through these here. Jerome Baker had a play I didn't really care for when Hunter Henry caught a touchdown for the Chargers to go up or to bring it to within 17-14. But other than that, I didn't have a lot of complaints about that position. Overall, the defense played great. So I'm gonna go with a B for the linebacker position.
I'm gonna go B plus. They really helped eliminate Hunter Henry throughout most of the game. They were definitely bend but don't break. They got a lot of hits on Herbert that didn't show up on the stat sheet. Um, I can go with a B plus for these guys. I thought they were solid, and I was glad to see Van Noy got to play. Like I know all the beat writers said he wasn't going to be eligible, but I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, we knew he was.
Van Noy is a tremendous traffic cop
Yeah,
at that linebacker spot, and I'm very glad the Dolphins have him on their roster. At defensive back, it's a straight A plus for me. I mean, to go. I mean, Keenan Allen heading into this game was in line for 124 catches for 1,400 plus yards, and he was held catchless throughout the first half. That's phenomenal. Mike Williams didn't have a catch in the first half. Mike Williams, or excuse me, Hunter Henry did not have a catch. I don't think so in the first half. I mean, it was phenomenal. And what more can you say? A plus for me on this.
this is the one grade that you've got me beat on. I think I'm going to go with an A here. I think they had a phenomenal game. I think there were a couple of times they let somebody get away from them when they really shouldn't have. But overall, that's going to happen when you're facing talent like they were, especially when Miami goes into the soft prevent-ish D. We'll go with I, Bobby McCain, like I said earlier, lights out yet again. Brandon Jones continues to find ways to contribute. Nick Needham with a sack. Byron Jones, I'd really love to see him get an interception on the stat sheet this year. But again, it's and Xavier Howard doing Xavier Howard like things. He is the best corner in the game right now. I don't care what anybody
And
says. Maybe J.C. Jackson,
it,
but
J.C. Jackson can make a lot of interceptions.
mm-hmm.
Xavier Howard can too. Byron Jones, to be quite honest, I don't care if he gets an interception throughout the rest of the year because he has so much length at that cornerback spot. I mean, it's frustrating to see what happened to him last week when that tight end Daniels from the Cardinals. It should not have. It should have been an interception for Byron Jones. But man, like
Yeah, I don't want to dub him the Chris Clemens of our corners. It's I mean, as a UConn guy, as somebody I've followed for years who's a really good dude, I don't want to dub him the Chris Clemens of our corners, the one that's always in position. But if that ball hits him in the hands, it's a weak spot. I really don't. It's he's better than that, and I've seen he's better than that.
yeah,
It's yeah, I just and another interesting thing to me here is, you look at the wide receiver groups that Miami's faced over the past few weeks. They faced some pretty damn good ones. They faced guys that are basically all pro candidates in like DeAndre Hopkins, etc. And You look what DeAndre Hopkins just did at the end of that Bills game to 3 Buffalo defenders, including Tre'Davious White,
Yeah,
and he
a-
couldn't do it against Xavier Howard. So that's what
absolutely.
that tells you.
And that's a phenomenal point there. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and then today what you saw with Keenan Allen and we're not talking about just doing well against them.
Yeah.
We're talking about shutting them out for halves at a time. I mean, that's unbelievable. I'm going to throw it back to you for the special teams unit.
Even with the Colonel missing a kick, I gotta go with an A here, or actually A plus. A plus. We blocked a damn punt today. Jakeem Grant looked good on returns. It looked at times like he was gonna break it, and they won the field position battle. The down in the ball inside the 3 when they should have gone into the end zone and saving that one. Van Ginkel's blocked punt. I keep going back to it. The Colonel making up for his miss immediately after the fact. I just kicking the ball out of the end zone on kickoffs to the point there's no question about the return. It barely drops into view when it pops back out of the frickin' stands. It's again, Miami's special teams. Their coverage units were great. They are a critical part of this team. There's 3 sides to the ball here in Miami, and they're all doing pretty goddamn well.
Offense, defense, and special teams. Dave Wanstead used to say it, but now it actually matters. Andrew Van
Don't bring
Ginkel.
up Wanstead when I'm celebrating.
Hey, it's a conversation for another day, but I thought Dave Wanstead was a better coach than most people thought. Anyway.
You gonna fight on this? Don't make me fight you on Victory Day. We got a 48-hour ceasefire.
We're not gonna we're not gonna end on that note. So, Paul, looking at the last 2 weeks here,
we still got player of the game. We still got our Coke Bus player of the game.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, damn.
We got to talk about our feelings and sing Kumbaya.
Yeah. Talk about stuff. So my Coke Bus player of the game is going to be, and I'm going to steal it from you finally. It's going to be Ted Karras.
You son of a...
2 botch snaps. What else can you say about it? It was 14-0. This could have been a blowout very early, if not for Ted Karras. Otherwise, I don't have many complaints about him throughout the rest of the year. Player of the game is going to be Xavier Howard. I mean, 5 interceptions here with 9 games into the season. I mean, he locks down players on every side of the football that he's on. So how about you?
Well, I prepared myself for going first like usual. So there goes Ted Karras for me.
And probably Xavier Howard too.
No. Emmanuel Ogbah. So there. It's Emmanuel Ogbah gets player of the game here. 2 passes defensed. He continues to harry quarterbacks. And really, I know he's got a year left, but he's one of those guys that I want to see Miami re-sign and do it now. He's the only player with a longer sack streak for games in a row in Dolphins history is Jason Taylor. And he was kind of a special dude.
Yes, he was.
It's
8 sacks on the year.
6
9
games in a row.
I mean, absolutely.
As far as, oh God, you're killing me here, Smalls. I'm going to go with Jesse Davis because outside of Ted Karras, Jesse also killed an early drive with just piss poor play. And there's not much more to say on that front because you stole Ted Karras.
Yeah,
why don't you take first fumble Ted Karras? I'll take second fumble Ted Karras.
It's going to be interesting to see in the upcoming days why Robert Hunt was not seeing more snaps at the right tackle spot. Same goes for Kinley at right guard. So the left tackle, right guard, right tackle spots for the Dolphins. Interesting and monitoring going on here as we continue to go along. But the Dolphins are 6-3. And over the next two games, they play at Denver, who got destroyed by Oakland today, or excuse me, by the Las Vegas Raiders today. And then in 2 weeks, the Dolphins play the Jets. So we're looking at possibly 7-4, 8-3. I mean, it's a fantastic position to be in here, Paul.
It
That will
is.
do it.
Cat, hey, actually, hold up, Cat. We did get a question in the chat, and I'm feeling generous tonight, so I hope you don't
Go
mind.
for it. Go for it.
We got asked about if we would grade the coaching staff for this one, and I think we should do head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, special teams. What do you think for this week?
I would say for this week, I would say Brian Flores gets an A, and pretty much he gets it every week. Offensive coordinator Chan Gailey. It's hard to judge a little bit because the Dolphins are up by a lot, in most of their wins. So I'm going to go with a B plus. Defense, Josh Boyer. I mean, easily an A for me. And Danny Crossman on special teams also gets an A.
Flores gets an A from me. A lot of the reasons you mentioned, it's what this team is doing halfway through a rebuild. I can't stress that enough. Is insanely special, and that all starts at the top. As far as Josh Boyer, I'll give him an A minus. I would have liked to see him keep the pressure on a little bit longer before starting to dial it back. I think it really could have helped blow this game open. Chan Gailey, I'm going to go with a B. It's it's I like the fact that they're dialing it down a little bit, keeping it comfy and safe for the rookie at times. But I think we're dialing it back a little bit too early. And it's a 10-point lead is not safe with 12 minutes left in the third quarter. And this is more of a general statement. We've seen teams come back from down 20 points with 5 minutes to go in the fourth. Makes me think they can come back from down 10, especially if we're letting off the gas on offense and defense. Momentum is a huge, huge thing in football for anybody that's ever played it, for those of you that have watched it religiously for years. And so I think Chan needs to keep the gas on a little bit longer and then let off. And at that point, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I can understand that part of it. My other part too is I think the Dolphins, when they have a lead, are one of the best teams in the NFL with a lead. Because even though Tua is a rookie, he plays very, very well when he has a lead. He protects the football, and then on the defensive side of the ball, Byron Jones and Xavier Howard. I mean, I don't see two wide receivers that can get over the top of them. So, it's
I got to do my special teams still though, and that's an A plus. You've said it a number of times. I don't think I've said it yet. I never thought that I'd be sitting here saying I'm okay without Darren Rizzi. Darren Rizzi was a guy that you and I both talked about when Flores came on. Said, I don't care what he does with the rest of the coaching staff, so long as he keeps Darren Rizzi. And he didn't. And unbelievably, and give Rizzi credit for finding the Colonel. That was a huge part of the success here. But unbelievably, the special teams are 1,000 times better, both between the emphasis that Chris Greer puts on it in free agent findings and through what we've got now. Easily an A plus there for me. And by the way, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this damn video, people.
Like, subscribe, and share this damn video. Indeed.
And comment. Give us some love.
And comment. Give us some good, give us some bad.
Demanding.
And that's going to do it for our breakdown of the Dolphins' 29-21 win over the LA Chargers. You can find me at Brian Cat NFL and Paul at Fanatic_Pick. You can find us also on Facebook, Twitter, Spreaker, iTunes, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. And if it's not on the right side and it's not on the left side, it is on the fin side.